Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another video quest for the best IEM for competitive gaming. I've got the Pilgrim Noir on the right. I've got the Tigerism Sunflower on my left. The Sunflower is a 14.2 planar driver, single planar driver. The Pilgrim Noir is a 3BA, one dynamic driver set that does come with an Effect Audio Eros S cable in black. The nice thing about the Effect Audio cables, you can see I've been using the same cable, but in gray on all of my other IEMs. I've got it on my collab IEM. The Eros S cable is very transparent, and it keeps the tuning very clean. It is something that doesn't affect the overall tuning, in my opinion. It just doesn't really add a element of warmth or darkness like the copper cable does, which is the Aries. Two very cool cables, very high quality cable here from Effect Audio. And the nice thing about the cables is the interchangeable terminations. You can see I've got a 4.4, but you can unscrew that and put on a 2.5, 3.5, etc. And something very cool is the connection to the IEM itself. You can unscrew and change from a 2-pin to a different type of connector like the one on the Pilgrim Noir or an MMCX, etc. So it's nice that you got an expensive cable that sounds fantastic and feels fantastic, but that you can use for a wide array of connections. Or even if, let's say, a 2-pin prong pops off, at least you can unscrew it from the cable and put on a new 2-pin connection. Now, the tuning on both of these IEMs, and I'll show you guys the cable as well for the Sunflower. It is a glossy cable with gold speckle in there. Also looks very good, and I thought both of the cables were very, very comfortable. For the chassis on the Sunflower, you can see it's kind of like a brushed nickel full metal chassis as well. The faceplate is this turquoise stone faceplate that just looks absolutely beautiful. The Sunflower comes in around 500, the Noir, again, around 800. And I think for both of these, for competitive gaming in particular, there's just a lot on the list right now that I think comes in a little bit cheaper that performs a little bit better than both. But what I will say is that the Sunflower for a single planar driver is the best single planar for gaming that I've used to date. The thing about planars that I always have somewhat of an issue with is just overall imaging, or some sets have an issue with verticality, or some sets have a big issue with separation and layering. I think the Sunflower nails down its imaging and staging in music. It feels a little bit more intimate than something like the Noir. But the imaging in music really just, as things are kind of going from left to right or above you, it really has a beautiful sense of staging and overall imaging for a very fun, warmer, bass-boosted experience compared to something like the Noir that I find to be a little bit more reference, but reference leaning to bright as well. The Noir, I had an issue with the treble region feeling a little harsh on some things, and I just lean more towards my music listening experience to something like the Sunflower. Now, the stark differences in the tunings, you really get a massive sense of in-game as well. When you take the Pilgrim Noir, let's say, into Valorant, which I thought it performed best in Valorant, the imaging depth perception, really, really nice. But the nice thing is that treble region being a little bit boosted, again, it doesn't like teeter into the range of being too harsh, but it's like right there, in my opinion. But footsteps on light things like light materials around the map, metals, etc., you really just get this great sense, even when you're focused and you're shooting or you're doing something, other audio cues are going off. Those light footsteps really shine through with a great sense of depth and imaging that makes you focus on those things a lot faster. You get a greater sense of urgency and awareness of footsteps. And it is, I think, a really good set for Valorant that I would probably place around a B+ for Val. One of the issues in Valorant is a lot of audio cues aren't going off a lot of the time, and the gunshots in Val I find to be more bass focused. Like Sets have a big issue when the sub-bass region and mid-bass have issues with separation. So you don't really have an issue there in Val on this, given its tuning. But when you transfer this to, let's say, Apex Legends, you really begin to get a great sense of occlusion with gunfire. Because a lot of the guns in Apex, a lot of the gunfire is brighter, even grenades that are popping off sometimes. I mean, it really goes through like the entire frequency range. But there's a lot of occlusion with gunfire, a lot of occlusion with grenades going off, and the imaging, the soundstage being a little bit larger feeling than the Sunflower, you begin to lose out on a lot. And I wouldn't be able to score it in Apex above a B minus. And in Call of Duty, I think it's got some redeeming factors and some factors, again, because of the tuning. You just lose out on some of the bass emphasized things in COD, which there are quite a lot. So I would probably put it around a B to a B minus for COD because the imaging is still there, the verticality, it's still a good IEM in all of those aspects. It really boils down a lot of the time to separation and layering. So I think for me, the Pilgrim Noir at its price point, I wouldn't be able to recommend it for gaming in particular. I think it's going to score around a B to a B minus, and probably more so leaning to a B minus because I think other titles as well, you're going to have a lot of issues with just some harshness and some occlusion with the treble region. The Sunflower, on the other hand, you do have just an instantaneous difference when you get in game. It's a soundstage that still feels fairly large, but one that feels more intimate than the Noir. The depth perception, the imaging, I think are fantastic on this set. You've got good micro detail, but it's very clearly a warmer set than the Noir, a little bit more bass boosted. And that bass boost has a really nice rumble. I mean, it's more of like that energetic IEM in that region that feels more like that action-packed experience that you get with, what you would expect when you want that experience when you're like seeing Die Hard or something at the movie theater, right? I think it's a fantastic set for music. You might find some harshness with some orchestral violins and flutes. I thought the separation and layering was fantastic in Apex. Not something that I think I could score higher than a B because the sub-bass region, when ultimates are going off, does have quite a bit of rumble that can include things when the circle's smaller and you're, facing like 3 teams at a time. But I do think the separation and layering are still great in those scenarios. And I think a B is a fantastic score where I would put it. I think for Valorant, it is a really nice experience as well. You got great imaging, both depth perception, people in front of you, and horizontal coming across walls and things like that. Performs very well, but just being able to distinguish and get a greater sense of some of those footsteps, like on the Noir, the lighter taps, and really getting a sense of like, even when I'm focused in a particular area and I'm shooting, to be able to have like a great perception and emphasis on footsteps and things that are coming like behind me, I just found to be better on the Noir. But a B is still a very good score. And I would probably give it a B in COD as well. I think it's a very good set in COD. You get a lot of those sub-bass elements, mid-bass elements that shine through. And people parachuting, like it's just a good experience in COD. COD's just, more of a difficult engine where it's hard to cross that threshold into the B plus range or A minus range, but just a very good all-rounder for gaming in general. And I think a very fun experience for music listening and entertainment. I think it's I think it's the best planar that I've tried for gaming so far. All the other single planars have always had big issues in certain regions. So, guys, that's really it for this one. If you guys are interested in these, I would supplement this video with music and audiophile-centric videos. I dump a lot of my time into testing in gaming. But again, for my music library, I lean to the Sunflower. I think it's just a really fun IEM that really the micro detail and a lot of the imaging just feels more visceral on this. For a lot of what I listen to, rap, reggae, R&B, etc. I think it's just a set that I would lean to. But, if you're more into you know, lighter and brighter, more referencey things, I could see somebody going for something like the Noir. But again, for the price, for $500 or $800, there's just a lot on the market for gaming right now that I think I would score higher in terms of separation, imaging, depth perception, etc. So, you know, pay attention to the overall rankings and pay attention to your budget, and, you know, supplement this with music-centric videos to see if the elevated price tags would be worth it for you guys. But both of these will be making the Wallhack certified tier list. The Sunflower is going to be generally higher than the Pilgrim Noir because I think it works better for a wider, more diverse set of titles. But both of these are actually quite good for gaming. That's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope it helped. I've got a lot more IEMs that I am testing right now. The tests take a long, long time. But up next will probably be the EM10. I've got a new one from Let's Shore that will probably add to it, and probably the Oravetti. And then I've got a few more after that as well. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope it helped. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.